I am Jana Bosonko, and this is Qtv Midday News coming to you live from our studios on Carabao Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And now here are the main news headlines. The National Assembly on Thursday ratified a grant agreement between the Gambia and the United States Agency for International Development. Following a bill passed by the National Assembly in 2016 banning public smoking in the Gambia, we engaged authorities and the public on the effectiveness of the ban. We hear from bi- and multilingualists about the importance of speaking multiple languages and the advantages in the job market and in society. And in sports news, Soma Opa and Senior Secondary School held its annual school athletics competition on Saturday in preparation for the regional and national championships. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and I am Jana Bosonko. Now we start with local news. The National Assembly on Thursday ratified a grant agreement between the Gambia government and the United States through its Agency for International Development. This is meant for democracy, peace and stability. While considering the agreement, National Assembly members have called for effective implementation of the project to realize its objectives. Mohamed Lamin Choi has the rest of that story.
The Finance and Economic Affairs Minister Mamburin Njai introduces the grant agreement before the NAMS as legally required for ratification. The initial grant is $2 million, which could increase to $15 million, subject to the availability of funds by the United States Agency for International Development, and open notice to government.
Honorable Speaker, to bolster government's efforts and address the aforesaid gaps, the DOAG will contribute to expanding, protecting and strengthening the Gambia's democratic progress by enhancing the agency of both citizens and civil societies and strengthening institutional and human capacity within branches, i.e. the executive, legislative, judiciary of the government of the Gambia.
In a unanimous voice, the National Assembly members ratified the framework agreement given its objectives and demand effective implementation of the project for sustainability. Nouns for Central Badibu and Kiyang Central, Suleiman Saho and Bakare Kamara respectively, are among those with concerns over failure of government projects due to alleged siphoning of funds for personal use.
You cannot be just going to look for fund, the fund comes, at the end of the day, it's shared like cake among stakeholders. This is what is witnessed in this country. How many failed projects do we have in the rural Gambia? Go travel through the rural Gambia. And these are grants. So people think that grants are just gift. The people who are giving you this money is their taxpayers' money.
If you continue to receive such grant, at the end of the day, people are the beneficiaries. We sit down and ask what are the impact of this grant. It's really sad. So my appeal, Honorable Minister, is that let's have a very, very robust and effective implementation of this project.
The Finance Minister had requested the National Assembly provide overall oversight for effective implementation. National Assembly members want to tighten their grip on and keep track of development of the project during its implementation process. To achieve that, National Assembly members, including Sekou Marong, the name for Latrikunda Sabiji, want the Finance Minister to provide quarterly reports on the project implementation.
Gambia as a country needs to be serious now. We have ratified a lot of grants in this country here. The Minister of Finance should come over to be giving us a report as a member of a parliament.
Another grant agreement with the U.S. and Gambia government brought to Parliament for ratification is the $25 million Millennium Challenge Corporation threshold. The grant aims to develop more effective, accountable and transparent power sector and to improve NAWEC power generation capacity for wider and consistent access to electricity coverage in the Gambia. Earlier during this session, the NAM for Banjul South, Fatoumata Njai, had introduced a private member's bill seeking a constitutional amendment to the reservation of seats for women and persons with disability. The bill was read for the first time and will proceed to a second reading next Thursday, when lawmakers will debate its merits and general principles. Mohamed Lamin Chai, Qtv News.
Still on the National Assembly, public smoking has been banned in the Gambia since 2016 after the National Assembly passed a bill banning public smoking. Alassane Ba, our regional reporter, engaged authorities and the public on their opinion of the effectiveness of the ban. Here is his report, narrated by Abibatu Sise.
In December 2021, the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education under the Ministry of Health briefed the press on the implementation of a one-year tobacco policy action fund to promote the enforcement of tobacco control laws and regulations in the Gambia. Sefo Singate, Senior Program Officer at the Non-Communicable Disease Unit of the Ministry of Health, explains how tobacco-related illnesses could lead to other deadly diseases. Mr. Singate further stated that, on average, a smoker smokes 10 cigarettes a day.
Tobacco in whatever form is as deadly as the other. Whether you insert it, whether you chew, whether you smoke, whether you inhale, it's all the same.
Alhaji Kinte, Police Commissioner in Banjul, says the act prohibits smoking in public places and that the law clearly stipulates that when they are smoking, smokers should move 100 meters away from the public.
And these tobacco companies, they are very powerful. You know, this law came into effect in 2016. The regulation, how many years did it take to get this regulation? 2019, July 2019. Because they can do a lot of lobbies behind you and me without our knowledge. But they know who to target and how to target the person.
Members of the public and shopkeepers in Jarasoma were engaged to find out if they know about the ban on public smoking.
Cigarettes are disturbing us and our children because you see children smoking in the presence of elders. It disturbs the ones smoking and the people around. The ban on cigarettes by the government is good. The act prohibits smoking in public places and there is a ban on selling single-stick cigarettes. We are only allowed to sell in packets.
The
authorities came here. We were selling the cigarette per stick, but later we were told that there is a new law against that. We were told to sell cigarettes in packets or gross and not to sell cigarettes to children aged under 18. Also, we should not smoke in public. That law should be enforced and anyone who wants to smoke should buy a packet or gross. If you cannot do that, then it is better you quit smoking.
According to the Act, advertisements, promotions and sponsorships of all tobacco products, selling single-stick cigarettes and selling to persons under 18 are prohibited. Also, contravening the law could lead to up to 3 months imprisonment or a fine of $2,500 or both. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
Interesting. Now, being bilingual or multilingual is important for communication and gives people an added advantage in the job market and in society. Fatusi Sanyang spoke to some bi- and multilingual people about their language skills and she fastened this report.
In a multilingual household, or because they learn second or other languages later in life. Ansu Jack, the manager of G Media, explains the benefit of learning other languages, especially for his journalism career.
Lyon in France, I did corporate communication training with some institute in France. So I got all those opportunities because of the French language. I was one of the few Anglophones that were chosen to attend the conference. And also, I was given the privilege to have a tete-a-tete discourse with the Secretary of de la Francophonie. I got the job at GIATES because of the French language.
Mr. Jack discloses how learning an international language can benefit people.
C'est difficile, mais on n'a pas beaucoup ou assez Gambiens qui parlent français. Donc, si vous êtes quelqu'un qui parle français.
Every Gambian should be able to understand the French language. It will help you a lot as an English speaker. If you are from an English-speaking country and can speak 2 foreign languages, you can work with international organizations like the UN, be an ambassador or a lecturer. Learning language is difficult, but you can do it. We don't have many Gambians who speak French. Therefore, speaking French as an English speaker gives you an added advantage and opens opportunities for you in the wider world.
Modun Lamin H. Almusaf Sow, a young Gambian writer, explains the advantages of learning French and the impact it had on him.
Being bilingual helps a lot. That is why I'm totally different from other Gambian writers. That's the advantage I have. I also translate some of my works, my books, into French, into other languages. Okay? So in fact, as we speak, I am working on finally translating Don't Judge the Book by the Cover, my award-winning book, and the Throne of the Ghost into Kiswahili or Swahili and French.
Francisco Afonso, a Portuguese and a video editor, explains how learning English helps him get a job in the Gambia.
If you go somewhere, you want someone to understand what you pretend to do or what you are saying, only with language. Portanto, a linguagem é a base da comunicação.
The language is the base of communication. So if we have the opportunity to know one or more languages, it's an added advantage for people. It also gives us the chance to communicate with people from different countries, different cultures and traditions. Eventually, we find a job where they speak different languages, etc.
The disadvantages of multilingualism are that once people know you are, they keep coming to you, asking you to translate things, which could become mentally exhausting. However, being multilingual has many advantages. It helps enhance communication and increases career opportunities. Being multilingual can improve a person's multitasking skills, problem solving, and creativity, as it promotes outside-the-box thinking. It can also help improve your memory and is useful when shopping and traveling in foreign countries. For QTV News, I am Fadisi Sanya.
I better start working on my French from now on. We will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some more local news stories. Do stay tuned.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
That short commercial break. If you're tuning in, you're watching QTV Midday News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, boat and canoe operators at the Banjul Barrow Crossing Point say business is slow, but they are hoping it will improve if they get support from government as well as philanthropists. QTV's Ajibuntu Drama visited them at the Banjul terminal, and she files on this report.
People are waiting for the slow-moving ferry at the Banjul Ferry terminal. Those eager to get to Barra prefer paying the canoes or boats, which are faster. The young men who work here earn a living by carrying people on their shoulders from the riverbank to the waiting boats. The essence for the passengers is not to get wet because there is no docking installed or erected here. They charge $10 for the service, which is equal to $0.19 US. Therefore, the more people you carry, the more money you get. The hard-working men here lament lack of better employment, which made them work here. The work is not going as expected, they said. 19-year-old Mbaindao is among the young men who carry people to the canoe. He pleads for support from government and good Samaritans. He further explains.
I want to help my mother. That is why I am doing this. If it is my choice, I will leave this and do something better, because this requires power and strength. Regardless of the size of the person you carry, the fixed price is $10. Some people are good. If you carry them, they give you $100, $50, or $20.
Fi enu len fi am yang koy gis enu rek len fi am te emnu gogu nonu sa arrangé wuñu man ma ngi ni sama loxo yi sama coro yi yapa ngi metti
What we do here is to carry people from land through the water to the canoe, and this job is not favorable. My hands and neck are aching.
Wow. Man sa damay nocciloo boy di leen di wax boy ne leen muñ rek dina baax government bi maybe bés dina ñëw.
I encourage the boys sometimes to give them hope. I tell them that one day things will get better because the government might help. These young boys are hardworking. They all want to be successful. Let the government help.
Because of what they go through, some of them sometimes sustain injuries. Mr. Njai also pleads for support.
We need proper clothing, uniforms, and footwear. We really need them. Sometimes we step on fish bones, which cause injuries. We really need help.
Sheikh Omar Jallo paddles a canoe from Barra to Banjul. He says the business is slow.
We are from Barra, and the sea is very helpful for us. We went to school and graduated but can't find any job. We made a choice to come to the sea to look for work to help our families. It's better than stealing or doing other things. We called on the government to help us. We are very hardworking. We want jobs for development.
According to the Gambia Labour Force Survey and Analytical Report 2018, 35.2% of the working population were unemployed at the time of the survey, while females are more affected, making up 57.1% of the total, and males making up 42.9%. After engaging these young men, it seems that acquiring skills and creating avenues for youth employment are essential for their brighter prospects. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Very, very unfortunate situation there. Now, the Gambia has a rich musical historical history when it comes to instruments such as the kora and the African long drum. However, as far as European classical instruments are concerned, there's less when it comes to the Gambia. So we spoke to a young Gambian who shares her inspirational journey to becoming classically trained. Here's Annabelle Gay with the story.
Meet Barkisu Ami Mendy. She's a 14-year-old violinist with Gambian parentage residing in the United States. She recently became the first chair violinist for her school's orchestra, where she's now responsible to tune up the other members before performances. She's been learning the violin ever since she was 9 years old, and her passion for the instrument has taken her far.
I started playing the violin in 4th grade, and I was taught by my beginner teacher named Christine Robbins. She is the orchestra director in the Harrisburg School District. I first got the news, Miss Baylor told me that I got the news, and she's like, "You got first chair." And I was like, what? I was like so happy that I got it. I was like very amazed and shocked. How I lead the orchestra is just making sure everyone plays together, like no one is getting lost and everything. And I really, really love it.
Outside of her school orchestra, Barkisu Ami often plays for her church and other religious events, as well as her Stewards Association, showcasing how versatile the violin can be. She shared with us her dreams of one day becoming a classically trained performer or conductor and how much it means to her.
I play at church, I play at home, and I play at other events. And I also attend this program, the Gambian program called Christian Panorama, and I'm also the youngest member there. I also attend Mind Steward Association by Mrs. Joanne Link, who was also my violin teacher. What I want to be when I grow up is a musician, or maybe I can be a conductor and teach younger kids by violin.
With the massive support she receives online in the United States and here in the Gambia, she also has a great team around her, keeping her grounded and pushing her to continue pursuing her passion. This includes Erica Baylor, who has been her school teacher since Barkisu Ami was 7 and has been watching her grow as a violinist ever since.
Barkisu Ami is very, very hardworking, and violin is something that she's always been very passionate about. So it's been very exciting to see her grow with her instrument through all these years. Barkisu Ami hasn't needed a whole lot of pushing through the years with the violin. She's been very motivated with just by herself to be successful. But I've just kind of helped her along the way, I would say, building her self-confidence and believing in herself and just learning how to focus. We work a lot on focusing on her studies, and I think that that same idea kind of translates over for her with her violin.
There may be others we don't know about, but the Gambia does not appear to have many musicians or composers playing European classical music. And so stories like Barkisu Ami's provide reassurance that European classical music could one day thrive in the Gambia. She is yet to visit the country but expresses a wish to one day do so and bring along her knowledge of the violin here. Reporting for QTV News, I'm Annabelle Gay.
Great piece there by Annabelle Gay on a young Gambian violinist. Very interesting piece. Now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Soma Opa and Senior Secondary School held its annual school athletics competition at the school's football field in preparation for the regional and national championships. Our regional correspondent Bakari Balde attended the event and he tells us more.
It was a joyous and eventful moment for the students of Soma Opa and Senior Secondary School. The event was well attended by students, members of the community, and athletics lovers. Athletics is part of the school extracurricular activities. Usman Jaju, the school principal, outlines the significance of the day.
Not only being in the classroom is learning, outside also is something worthwhile for them to know. Like you have other students who are very good in academic fields, others are good in these extracurricular activities where they also will show their talents, at least to showcase to earn their living in future.
Lamin Dimbalan, the head of the sports department, gives a breakdown of the two-day activity while complimenting the school administration and staff for their cooperation.
It's a very young school, but we are young, but that does not mean that we are not competing at the high level, because we are competing at regional level and we are also competing at national level. Looking at it, we are prepared, and I know that we are also, we can do our best. All that we have to do is to thank the principal and the support that we are having.
Samba Sow and Babukar Sise, both coordinators from Kairakonko Group, expressed delight for the event.
And I have a strong team, the likes of Mr. Sambo, Mr. Sao, Mr. Sisa, Kigera, Aisha, and Ola. So we have come together and say we got a king because of history. And we say all other countries are gonna fall and we rise.
Modlamin Ba, the school head boy, and Omar B. Job, a former student of the school, shared their views.
I'm so happy and I can't even express how happy I am as we see all teachers, even the principal is here present, showing their love for the school, participating since in the morning till now. They are also in the heart they have for the school. I'm so very much.
So that of last year compared to this year, it's only one athlete is taking almost all the events, but this time around it is of different keys. It's like when it comes to 200 meter, you will see someone from nowhere will win the event. That of 100 meter is quite different.
Sira Diallo and Baikor, both athletes, said they are inspired by Gambia's Gina Bass and Jamaican Usain Bolt. The students were divided into 4 groups, namely Kairakonko, Limboko, Bajamba Construction and Area Council. After a 2-day competition, Kairakonko emerged winners with 474 points. However, the best athletes identified from this competition will represent the school at both regional and national athletics championships this year. Reporting for QTV News, I am Bakar Balde.
From that story by Bakar Balde, we will now recap our main headlines. The National Assembly on Thursday ratified a grant agreement between the Gambia and the United States Agency for International Development. Following a bill passed by the National Assembly in 2016 banning public smoking in the Gambia, we engaged authorities and the public on the effectiveness of the ban. We heard from bi- and multilingual people about the importance of speaking multiple languages and the advantages in the job market and in society. And in sports news, Soma Opa and Senior Secondary School held its annual school athletics competition on Saturday in preparation for the regional and national championships. That is all we have for you in this edition of QTV Midday News. Join me at 8 p.m. for more news. Have a great day.